Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic and wonderful and great. Because it's pretty awesome here. It was actually like above 50 degrees today. There's still snow because it was the snow had like turned ice over. Anyway, it's great. I posted a question on Twitter today, and my initial thought in posting this question was, I wonder if I can get some engagement so that I can maybe have a show topic. um, because, you know, I have like 4,000 ish Twitter followers, but I also uh, I don't engage a lot on there, and I don't see a lot of engagement. So normally when I post a tweet, I just get a little bit of feedback from friends that always comment. But today, uh, I got a lot of feedback, and that was unexpected because I asked a simple question. I said, and I quote, "Do you have any processes, tricks you use to get started on tasks that seem overwhelming?" And it was intended to be tangential to yesterday's episode about my shop apron, which, by the way, I don't know if I made it clear. I researched and purchased that apron for myself. It was not something that was given to me or whatever, and that was a very honest assessment of how I feel about wearing the. It was more about, to me, in my head, the takeaway from that video was more about um, the shop apron's ability to chip away at barriers that I create for myself on starting processes. So that was what the onus of this question was. Like, maybe I can get some people to give me some feedback. Well, I ended up getting like a couple dozen comments. Uh, a bunch of people jumped in and told me their thoughts, their processes, and it seems to be kind of a 50-50 split between just do it, which is kind of the duh, and plan it out. Right? It seems to be there's a good split there. A lot of people just say just jump in. I think that my friend Scott King said probably gave me one of the most uh, concise explanations that I've ever seen, because a lot of times this type of material is covered in like 1,000 self-help books that all just regurgitate the same bullshit, like, put a sticky note under your boot so you see it in the morning, and you're like, that's your whole book? Like, you wrote a whole book about that? That's stupid, right? It's all just another way of saying just do it. But Scott's particular take on it was just do it, pick a hard start, no excuse, you just do it. Don't focus or stress or think about ahead of time, and live free until that start time. And then I had to hit him back, like, well, how do I do that, right? Because starting to, thinking about it ahead of time and living free, that's impossible to me. That's putting on my shop apron, right? Putting on my shop apron removes that barrier of, I've got to go get all my clothes changed. I've got to get prepped. I've got to turn the heat on because I'm going to spend some time down here. Like, it removes that whole barrier and says, just walk down there, slap the apron on, do some work. It doesn't matter if I'm here for 10 minutes or if I'm here for 3 hours. I don't feel like I've wasted any time. Whereas if I went into the bedroom, got all my clothes changed, got my shoes on, came down here, did 5 minutes of work, then went back upstairs, took all my clothes back off, that barrier, even though it seems stupid, because it is what stops me. And I go, well, I just won't do it. I'll just wait until I have more work to do so that I can justify the time spent in getting prepped. Apron removes that. Put the apron on, walk in the room, let's do the thing. And so I thought I was going to talk about that today, and I guess we kind of have. I've hit on a few of these, but there's a lot here. There's a lot to go through, a lot to think about. And I think the reality of this thread that I started, and the project that I asked about on Friday are very similar. They're not the same thing, but I think that what I can do with this thread is I think I have material here to create not necessarily a script. I don't want to write scripts. I don't do good with scripts. I've tried to write them for voiceover work and that sort of thing, and I don't do well at it. But I think if I can put together some, here's what I need to say here, and it's like topic points, I think that this thread, this Twitter thread, is a good discussion to have over top of me building a desk. Some of you might remember that I built a desk in 2019 for M, who was at that time my girlfriend, and she had started to live with me, and she needed her own space. And she asked me to build her a desk, and I did, and it took me 6 months. And it is not a nice desk. It is 2 boxes with 3 drawers each and a desktop. Like, it's literally that simple, and it took me 6 months because of this, because I couldn't get started, because the tasks that were required to build a desk seemed overwhelming. Now that I have built that desk, I feel like I could just come down here and build a desk, like no problem. I know how to do it. I know exactly the processes that I used previously to build the desk, and I can make a much nicer desk. But I labored over every little detail beforehand. I front-loaded all of that anxiety. Instead of waiting until the problem arose, then spending some time figuring that problem out and moving forward, I preloaded all of that anxiety, all of that worry, and it caused me to not start. And so the desk I would come down here, I would do a little bit that I knew what to do, and then I would go think for days or weeks before I'd come back down here and work on it again. And I think that's what this tweet was actually about. Not necessarily about just spending time in here. And so I think I'm going to finally do something with that footage and this Twitter thread. Like we had talked about last week, the watch video, repairing the watch while talking about depression, was what started this whole thing for me. And I think that's the kind of content that I want to put on the Chevee channel. I originally thought the Chevee channel, I'm going to do builds and garage stuff, and I think I am. Like, this desk video, part of the reason I haven't done much with the footage is because it's not a very good desk. It's not teaching you anything new. And I felt like I was making a project that was not worth anybody's time, because it really isn't. It's not worth your time to learn how to make what I made. Make something better, easier. Like, I now know easier methods to do what I did and make it better instead of doing it the way I did it. And so the footage, that whole concept of making a build video out of that, seemed useless, right? But I think what I can do now with this content, with the Twitter content, with the feedback from other people, with the ideas that generates, I can create a 10-minute, 12-minute, 15-minute discussion about getting started, about finding a way to just get it done while showing you my build of a desk. Not teaching you how to build a desk. Through the video, you'll probably figure out how I built the desk, because I will show the steps, but it becomes less of a instructional vlog and more of a personal story. And I think that's what I've been missing this whole time when I tried to make those videos in the past. We shall see. I think I have a fairly rough edit of the desk build that was originally going to be 2 parts. So if I can figure out how to cut it all and overlay a bit of a discussion like I did with the watch, and maybe some inserts of me goofing or talking, I think I'm going to work on that and see what happens. Because that might be a project I can put energy into for a long term, where I can put out a video just whenever I get it done, talking about some sort of subject. And related to Friday, maybe it's those subjects that you guys pointed out that are important. I could highlight those in some sort of video like that. That's my thoughts. If you stopped by Twitter today and saw what I said and responded, thank you. If you stopped by today and watched this video, thank you, as always. It's been a wonderful ride, and we're approaching 6 years. That's crazy to me. So thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is kraken. It is a noun meaning a gigantic creature somewhat like the Loch Ness Monster, reputedly sighted off the coast of Norway. Most of the kraken reported as washed up on beaches were probably giant squid. Kraken, K-R-A-K-E-N. somewhat like the Loch Ness Monster. I don't think that's accurate unless they're meaning like a fictional creature. Like I thought a kraken was a giant squid, like a humongous squid, not a dorsal finned, long necked, whatever.